Some electric bikes are meant for riding off-road, others are meant for going fast, and yet still others offer full suspension for a more comfortable ride. And then once in a while, you get a bike that gives you all of that and more.
Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the Wallke X3 Pro. Come along with us while we check it out.
There are actually two versions of this bike, the X3 Pro, which is a single motor e-bike, and the X3 Max, which is the all-wheel drive version I have here. Now I'll tell you right away that this e-bike offers a lot, but it's got a lot of compromises hidden in it too, so let's dive into both. First of all, let's see what we're working with here. The Wallke X3 Max features two hub motors, providing all-wheel drive capabilities. Each motor is rated for 1000 watts continuous or 1600 watts peak, meaning you've got 3.2 kilowatts of peak power when you twist that right side half-twist throttle. That technically makes this an out-of-class e-bike, since it's not going to fit into Class 3 designation with over 750 watts of power. And to be fair, it's not even close to being in class, especially since those dual motors will let it hit speeds of around 32 to 34 miles per hour. So yeah, please remember that this is an e-bike that you have to exercise personal responsibility with. It may not be legal for public road use in some areas, and you definitely need to be cautious of other riders around you if you're in bike lanes or bike trails. But because of this impressive power, overlanding and riding in places where there aren't even any trails is where the bike really excels. Think soft sand like on a beach or even snow, places where a single wheel drive e-bike would get bogged down. That's the advantage of two ultra-powerful hub motors and fat tires. Though another advantage here is the dual suspension. Now don't get too excited, this is not fancy suspension. Yeah, it's 4 bars, so it's not overly primitive, but this isn't some nice RockShox or Fox absorber here. It's basic thumb through the Chinese parts catalog stuff. But then again, it does work. The suspension's not high-end, but it keeps that saddle from working its way into your colon, so there's something to say for even cheap suspension. On the other hand, full suspension, dual motors, and fat tires all mean more weight. Put them together and you get a bike that weighs a hefty 87 pounds. It's also a folding bike, though that only does half the job of making it smaller. It doesn't make it any lighter, so your mileage may vary. And speaking of mileage, there's a big old 48 volt 20 amp hour removable battery, so it's nice to see 960 watt hours of capacity hidden in that frame. But the bike is so overmotored that you drain the battery quickly. Don't expect to make it more than around 20 miles on throttle, or maybe 25 to 30 with a lot of pedaling help. And if you're riding near the top end of the speed, you might come in with even less than 20 miles of range. If you slow down, of course you can go further, but this bike is here for a good time, not a long time. But dang, it sure is a good time, because this bike is just so much fun to ride. It's got more power, more cushion, more traction, and more just about everything than most other bikes in its class. And priced at $1,699, it's even pretty fairly priced. Yeah, you don't get great parts, but the big battery and dual motors don't come cheap. Toss in headlights and taillights and the rear rack, that suspension, the quad piston hydraulic disc brakes on 203mm rotors big enough to be salad plates. Oh, and that color LCD screen that shows all your basic riding info as well as lets you know if you're in all-wheel drive mode or just front or rear wheel drive. And you've got enough extra stuff thrown in here to jack up that price significantly. So $1,699 doesn't seem too bad, all things considered. Many all-wheel drive e-bikes out there cost a lot more. While some people might complain about the lower tier drivetrain, I imagine most people aren't going to be pedaling this bike very much either, so it's not a main concern for me. The bike seems to offer a lot of options for fun types of riding you just couldn't do on most bikes. It's not the first choice as a commuter or even a folder, but as an adventure e-bike, it definitely ticks a lot of boxes. Thanks for watching everyone, we hope you enjoyed that review of the Wallke X3 Max. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.